Hey there, Patriots. This is True Outlaw Patriot coming at you with another one. Um, this video that I'm about to put out is about a couple of articles that I came across yesterday, and I don't know if anybody has heard of these two articles that I'm going to read to you. Um, and just so everybody knows, um, when I do research, I don't go online looking for the next best thing. What happens is every morning when I get up, and I turn my computer on, my browser is throwing out all kinds of news articles to me. Okay, because I basically pin tons and tons of different news outlets. So basically, it just bombards me with all kinds of stuff that's going on. But if I had to put out a video on everything that I come across, I mean, even if I put out 10 videos a day, 7 days a week, it wouldn't be enough. Okay, it just wouldn't. I mean, there is so much chaos going on, so many chaotic things going on that it blows your mind. And I mean, it is just one of those things that I encourage people to also, if you're going to go on YouTube, if you're going to go onto any platform just to, look things up, which is great, you might want to start looking out also to different news articles from within the United States, around the world. That I know that a lot of people have a hard time because there's so much bullshit out there that the mainstream media puts out. But you'd be surprised when you do research, when you start looking at certain things, you'll be like, okay, you know what? A lot of this is fluff, but a lot of this is true. And they're putting out the information, but they're not putting it out in a massive scale for it to catch traction, because they don't want it to, basically. They want it to be something of shock and awe when it finally comes out and says, but we try to warn you, which in fact it was bullshit. They just want to use that to cover themselves up. So, it's almost like that term, plausible deniability. Like, we pull it out, we put everything out, but, it's not our fault that nobody paid attention, again, which is bullshit. Okay, it's how they put out the information, how they word it, and how they try to put it out to catch people's attention. Okay, some things they want to catch your attention, which is to sow chaos and confusion. Other stuff they don't want to catch your attention, but they only put up so much so later on they can cover their ass, basically. But before I read these two articles, because the first one is probably going to be no surprise to many as far as what it's about. The second one I find surprising, and when we get into that article, I'll point it out. But before I continue, I just want to thank all my new subscribers and all my subscribers to here on YouTube and on Rumble. So don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe, pass the channel around. And if you can help support the channel, there's a link in my description to my Cash App, PayPal, and my merch store, TrueOutlawPatriot.com. Also, I just want to share this shirt that I bought a while ago. It says, "Fuck your safe space." I bought this when I was visiting a beach in Florida, and I had to get it, so I've been having this for a while. I wish they would put it back out. But with all that being said, all right, this article right here came out about a day ago on what's this, News Today, USA Today, whatever the hell it is, some left-leaning news outlet. And it says, two new COVID variants called Flirt are spreading in the U.S. What are the symptoms? Now, I haven't heard of this. Okay, this is all new to me, so I don't know if anybody else has heard of it either. But it just seems like, when people are at the point of just saying, you know what, I am so sick and tired of being, how can I say, of being lied to and having fear trying to get, shoved down my throat and, shoved into my life, something else comes up. And it's like, you know what? When are the powers that be are going to listen and say, we're not fooling them anymore. We're just not. Okay? Because they lied to us the first time, they lied to us the second time, and now they're trying to lie to us the third time. And it's funny how with everything that's happening in the United States, Now they're saying more things are coming out. But mind you, people, okay, and I believe that it's sometime this month, that people need to understand that Joe Biden is supposed to meet up with heads of state from around the world, and they're supposed to go, I believe, to some forum where they might pass over power. Okay, I think it's to the WHO or WEF or one of these organizations, in order to start telling people in the United States that this is what's going to be done when the next so-called pandemic comes around. Okay, and there's a lot of people that know about it, a lot of politicians that are against it, but everybody knows that Joe Biden is a damn traitor to this country. He doesn't give a flying rat's ass. All right, he sold his soul a long time ago, and he sold it to the highest bidder. But I'll digress on all that. But let's get to this article. It says a new group of COVID-19 variants are circulating in the United States, sparking concerns about a potential summer wave. Here we go. The family of variants nicknamed Flirt are the mutation including KP2, which is now the dominant strain in the U.S. last month. KP2 quickly overlooked JN1, the Omicron subvariant that drove a surge in COVID cases this past winter. Okay, bullshit. And just so anybody knows, I'm reading all this, but I am calling total bullshit on all this. Okay, total bullshit on all this. Okay, because I have family and friends that have suffered not from COVID, but have suffered from the COVID vaccine. Okay, plain and simple. There's no more hiding it. There's no more bullshit. I mean, the CDC is putting out information now. People are talking on the right and the left. There's no more bullshit. And it's just a matter of time before somebody unveils or lifts up that blanket and says, you know what? This was all a damn farce. Okay? And millions of people's lives were affected negatively, but it wasn't because of what they're trying to tell everybody. It was because of their own doing. Not the people, the powers that be. But I'll digress on that. Let's continue. It says currently KP2 accounts for 1 in 4 infections nationwide, according to the latest data from the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. During a 2-week period ending on April 27th, which was not too long ago, about 2 weeks ago, KP2 made up nearly 25% of cases in the U.S., up from about 10% during the previous 2-week period ending on April 13th. After KP2, the next most common variant is JN1, which accounts for 22% of cases, followed by 2 JN1 subvariants, JN1.7 and JN1.13.1. Whatever the fuck all this bullshit means. Okay? You know, it almost sounds like a recipe for a damn new program or new app that they're trying to put out. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Another Flirt variant called KP1.1 is also circulating in the U.S., but is less widespread than KP2. It currently accounts for about 7.5% of infections nationwide per the CDC. Now, you know, they keep saying that these things are causing, you know, infections and stuff like that, and it's up, what they say, 25%, 22%. You know, where I live, people are walking around in mass normally. Okay? Where I've traveled to the different states, same thing. You know, 25%, 22%, 10% of the population is not something that you can miss when something is around infecting people. And even if you don't see them, it's not a conversation that will not be spoken about. You will either hear about it or see it. Okay, and when the whole COVID thing came out, I heard and saw more people that said that they supposedly had it, but that they were fine. And I've heard of more people that got the vaccine and got really sick and sadly passed away. See, that much I seen and I heard. The whole mass hysteria about that, making it seem like people were just dropping like flies, and you have to do this and you got to do that. And you know, maybe some people seen it in other places, but I was traveling into different states, different cities. I didn't see it. I traveled to Florida, and the biggest thing that was being said by the left was that Florida was affected the most. And I have family and friends in different counties in Florida. And I think maybe just a few said that they got sick and they had to stay home for 2 weeks. Okay. But I did have family say that they had family members that took the vaccine and they died. So this is not something that, I'm not trying to tell people don't listen, don't take care of your health. What I'm saying is, how much fear mongering are they going to keep putting into people? And especially now with all the bullshit that's going on, and we're only, what, 6.5 months away from an election, all of a sudden, two new variants are coming out. But let's continue. It says another flirt variant called KP1.1 is also circulating in the U.S. Even though I read this, I'm going to keep reading it. But is less widespread than KP2. It currently accounts for about 7.5% of infections nationwide per the CDC. Although cases and hospitalizations are down and the county is in the middle of a COVID-19 full? Okay, I don't know what. Although cases and hospitalizations are down and the country, my bad, is in the middle of a COVID-19 full, whatever the hell that means, the new flirt variants are stroking fear about a possible wave of infections this summer. No, it's not, because unless you're putting it out and you're putting out the fear, nobody is really paying attention to this. People are trying to get back to normalcy. Okay? People are realizing that, you know what? If I take care of myself the way I'm used to doing it, I'm better off. You telling me how to take care of myself is making me sick. But, at least that's the way I see it. Maybe you people see it too. And if you do, leave comments, please. It says scientists are warning that KP2 and KP1.1 may be better at evading the immune system due to their spike protein mutations. First of all, the spike protein and its mutation and what it does is something that many, many people were complaining about, of how that was making people's health worse. Okay? Once again, I'm calling bullshit. So this bullshit needs to stop and it needs to be called out. It said, and that warning immunity and poor uptake of the latest COVID-19 vaccine have created a more susceptible population. Will there be another COVID-19 surge? Where are the symptoms of the flirt? What are the symptoms of the flirt variants? Are vaccines still effective? We spoke to experts to learn more. Yeah, here we go. Leave it up to the experts, okay? Because they know fucking everything. What are the flirt variants? The flirt variants KP2 and KP1.1 are spin-offs of JN111.1, a direct descendant of JN1, and were initially detected in wastewater samples from across the country. The new variants have two additional mutations that set them apart from JN1 and appear to give them an advantage over previous variants. Dr. Albert Coe, infectious disease physician and professor of public health, epidemiology, and medicine at Yale School of Public Health, tells Today.com. I think Yale's going through enough trouble right now with freaking protests, but we'll leave that one alone. The nickname flirt is based on the technical names for their mutations, according to the Infectious Disease Society of America. First of all, if you tell anybody, and I hate to say it this way, I'm not trying to make light of it or a joke, but you start telling young people that there is a new disease out there called flirt, they're probably going to take it with a grain of salt and say, well, I like to catch that. I'm just throwing a stupid joke, but it's like you couldn't find a better way to name it if it's so damn important. You had to call it flirt. It's just mind-boggling, and these people are the ones that get paid the most. Okay, but it says just like other COVID-19 strains that have gained dominance in the U.S. over the last year, JN1, HV1, EG5, aka Eris, and XBB1.16 or Arcturus, the flirt variants, part of the Omicron family. I've never heard of any of these. I mean, besides Omicron, but all this other stuff they're talking about, it's oblivious to me. Like I said, I go about my life and my business, and I watch and listen to a lot of people, and I haven't heard anybody talk about this bullshit. Okay? Especially all the ones I just mentioned. But let's continue. Um, it says the emergencies of KP2 and other flirt variants is the same old story. Andrew Paco's PhD, a virologist of Johns Hopkins University, tells Today.com the SARS-CoV-2 virus mutates and gives rise to a new, highly contagious variant, which becomes the dominant strain. The timeline that it happens is 3 to 6 months. Is much faster than we see with other viruses like influenza, says Picosi. You know, it's funny that they would say that because has anybody had the flu lately? I don't know, in about the past 3 or 4 years? I mean, I haven't heard of anybody say that they got the flu. I mean, we've gone through what? 4 winters already? Okay? And I haven't heard of anybody getting the flu and or getting a flu shot, which is something I'm against myself. But I mean, you do what what you want. But just a little FYI. It says, are the new variants more transmittable? It's still early. It's still early days, but the initial impression is that this variant KP2 is rather transmittable. Dr. William Schaffner, professor of infectious disease at Vanderbilt University Medical Center, tells Today.com. The proportion of cases caused by KP2 is increasing while the proportion caused by other variants is decreasing, which suggests KP2 has features that give it an advantage. The experts know. Yeah, the experts. I'll never listen to what they call themselves an expert. KP2 looks very similar to its parental strain JN1, says Pacose, which is highly contagious, except it has these 2 mutations. I think these 2 mutations together are making KP2 a better virus in that it maintains its ability to transmit, but also now evades some of the pre-existing immunity in the population, says Pacose. Really, here we go. First they bring it out. Now they're trying to first they bring something up. Now they're trying to debunk something, or not debunk. They're trying to bring it down, saying, you know what, we're gonna have to do more because what we've tried, it's not working. So basically, what does that mean? In my opinion, anybody need another shot or a new one? Just my opinion, like I said. Here we go. Over 97% of people in the U.S. have natural or vaccine-induced antibodies against the SARS-CoV-2 virus, per the CDC, but this immune protection fades over time. Bullshit. Okay, I'm calling bullshit. And it's funny how they say over 97% of people in the U.S. have natural or vaccine-induced antibodies. I'd like to say that 97% of people in the U.S. have natural immunities to diseases that happen, viruses and stuff like that, and maybe 3% their immune system went up when they got the vaccine, which means that, you know what? Again, the vaccine was not meant for everybody, and it probably hurt a lot more people than it helped. Okay? And this whole thing about, but the immune system, but this immune protection fades over time. Your body, when it makes a natural immunity towards things, it's not that it fades over time. Okay, so I don't understand how these people, and these are supposed to be medical experts, they keep changing it. Listen, the last time I got the flu, I mean, I can't even remember the last time I got the flu. Okay? And I'm talking from New York to going to Florida to going to Arkansas to going to different states. I can't remember when I had the last time I had the flu. But here's the thing. I've never once in my life had a flu shot. Ever. Never once in my life had a flu shot. As a matter of fact, there was a major outbreak of the flu years ago in New York. I was working in a hospital, and they were telling all the workers that they needed to get vaccinated, and they were trying to push this by hook or by crook on the workers. And I had to look into I was a union member at the time for local 1099 that they deal with hospital workers. And I started looking through my book and looking through all the bylaws, and nowhere did it say that I had to listen to them. And when I brought it up to my supervisor and stuff like that, they threatened to fire me. I was like, then fire me. Never got fired, never got the flu, never got a flu shot. Now, some people may say, well, you're lucky. Yeah, that is true. But then that means that, I don't know, 50, 60, 70% of all the other workers that did the same like me were lucky too? No, I don't believe in coincidences, especially on a scale like that. But let's continue. Um, it says low vaccination rates and warning immunity creates a vulnerable population. No, it don't, which may allow the flirt variant to take hold. Only time and more data will tell, the experts know. You see, here they go, ready, trying to scare people to say, now you got to take more, you got to take more, you got to take more. No, how about you take that jab and shove it in your damn neck and you take it? Okay? Because I, for one, do not believe when Joe Biden sat down for that photo op pretending that he was getting a shot in the arm. For all I know, man, they were shooting him up with a shot of freaking 100 proof vodka. Okay? There's, I can talk about this for days and put out and it's not about putting out information. I can put out so many questions, and I'll probably do it. I'm thinking about doing a live show. I just want to put out questions, and I want people to listen to the questions and think about it, because I've put out so many questions that some other people put out, but nobody talks about it, and it makes you think, like, what the hell is really going on? But we'll get to that another time. Let's continue. It says laboratory studies suggest that KP2 is mutated enough such that current vaccines and immunity from prior infections will only provide partial protection, says Schaffner. We'll have to see how true that is, but it appears over time to be becoming a more prominent variant, he adds. It's still really early in the emergence of KP2, but I don't think we need to sound the alarm bells as of yet, says Cole. Yeah, sounds like they're doing it already. Okay, let's speed this up a little bit. Where was I? It says, it's too soon to tell whether the flirt variant will cause a summer wave or surge. The experts know, however, it is clear that COVID-19 is still circulating and won't be taking any time off. We're seeing these infections year-round and modulating levels. We're probably not at the stage yet where we'll see COVID go away completely at any time of the year, says Pecos. Yeah, tell me another one. Test positivity, which is an early indicator of case levels, is at 3% as of April 20th, down 0.4% from the previous week and a sharp decline from around 12% in mid-January, per the CDC. The CDC no longer tracks the total number of cases in the U.S. Yeah, why not? Why not? They played a big part in making sure that everybody got the jab, pushing their agenda with the leftist government. Why don't they want to be bothered now? Why? I mean, this is supposed to be the new shit that you got to be careful, man. You got to be careful because there might be another potential lockdown. You got to listen. So if they don't want to be bothered, why in the hell should we be subject to doing what they say, doing what the WEF says, the WHO? If the CDC doesn't want to be bothered, okay, if they no longer want to track what's going on, why in the hell should we listen to some entity that's not even part of the United States, okay, to tell us how do we live our lives? Think about that. Let's continue. We're not seeing a lot of hospitalizations, and we're certainly much lower than we were in the winter. So I'd say right now we're at a low point, which is reassuring, says Cole. Yeah, okay. Wastewater data published by the CDC shows that the viral activity level for COVID-19 is currently minimal. It was considered high or very high for most of January and February. It seems like transmission is pretty low right now, and that makes sense because usually the big peaks are in the winter when people are inside and in more contact, says Cole. So it's funny, they say people get it when they're indoors more, but they stop people from going outdoors because they didn't want it to spread, and they were telling people, they were banning people from going to church. They were telling everybody stay 18 feet away from each other, whatever the hell it was. But now they're saying, but wait a minute, if you're indoors, it's going to spike more. See what I'm saying? It just makes no damn sense. Think about that. Because the way I see it, you would think that if people caught it more while they were indoors, why didn't they let people open up their windows indoors and go outdoors and get some fresh air, and maybe just Mother Nature on its own would have just fed it so much oxygen it would have killed it. But I'm not a scientist. I'm just saying. Doctors say that when you're sick, try not to stay in bed too long. Try to get up and go get fresh air, so like that your body rejuvenates itself and you get all that extra oxygen and energy. But when it came to COVID, that wasn't the case. Okay, it was like do as you're told and die. That's it. But let's continue. Where was I? The seasonality of COVID-19 is something scientists are still trying to understand. But one thing is obvious. This virus is now integrating itself into our population and our way of life, says Shafter. No, maybe your way of life, because what you're trying to do is like poison, to have a continuous poisoning of the people. Again, these are all just my opinions, but you lovely people can think for yourself. There are several measuring factors, says Cole. First, KP2 is not highly divergent variant. In other words, it doesn't have a very large number of new mutations that differentiate it from other strains. Second, many people have immunity from recently being infected with the flirt variant, predecessor JN1. Last, during the summertime, people are spending less time indoors, which allows the virus fewer opportunities to spread. You see what I'm saying? It just makes no sense. They're coming out with this now saying that it spread more because people were indoors, but that's exactly what they were telling people to do. To stay indoors. Think about that. Hush. Where was I? Okay. It says, I'm not expecting a large surge in the summertime. Sorry, I read that already. No, wait. I'm not expecting a large surge in the summer. But again, we have to be cautious and we have to follow the data. Here we go. Follow the data. It says Cole. We always have to be humble because SARS-CoV-2 has taught us a lot of new things. Yeah, like don't listen to your data and, keep it moving. Now, I can read all this. I mean, it goes on and on and on. But what I'll do, I can't really leave a link in the description because this is just an article. And I want to get to the next article. But look this up, okay? On today, 2 new COVID variants called flirt are spreading in the U.S. What are the symptoms? And I'm not trying to upset anybody. It's just that there's a lot more to read, and I want to get to the second article that the people are going to find pretty wild. But just in case, I'll just read this part out real quick. Some of the symptoms: sore throat, cough, fatigue, congestion, runny nose, headache, muscle aches, fever, chills, new loss of sense of taste and smell, shortness of breath, difficulty, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea. You know, this describes the flu. This describes a regular cold. It describes when you're having sinus. I mean, it just, I don't get it. But like I said, look up the article. You guys can read that yourself. The second article I want to read, which is coming from a magazine called The Cool Down. Okay, it says scientists raise concerns as dangerous illness threatens over 1 billion people. We may see more frequent outbreaks. Now, this one I found to be very freaking strange because, being born and raised in New York, we go upstate New York, we go out into the woods and stuff like that. I've lived in Florida. You hear about a particular thing all the time. You never really pay attention to it. But I find this funny because I was watching some videos the other day on YouTube and of something that's really big, like in Africa and stuff like that. And it's called CHIGGERS. And people have heard of it. Okay? Gone untreated. I mean, if you look at some of the videos on YouTube, number one, it's heartbreaking. Number two, it'll make you want to puke. Of how a lot of these people get these so-called chiggers in their feet. And I mean, just looking at the videos, you feel so bad for the people. You just wonder, why don't they just cut their feet off? It's so damn bad. I mean, and it's disgusting. It's just holes and pus coming out. It's just horrible. Okay, but I looked at this article and I'm like, okay, let me read through this article, and it's only a 2-minute read, and see what's it about. But as I read it, I already caught it. I was like, you know what? This is something else that's bullshit. It's only pushing an agenda. Okay? So I'm going to read it with you guys. It said insect-borne diseases that were once confined to certain geographical areas are spreading, thanks to the continued overheating of our planet. Here we go. Okay? Climate change, whatever the hell you want to call it. One such disease is scrub typhus, which is recently detected for the first time in the mountainous country of Bhutan. Eco Business reported. I don't even know where Bhutan is. Okay. It says what is happening. Scrub typhus is transmitted through the bite of larvae mites of the Trombiculus Biculidae family, also known as chiggers. The zoonotic illness causes symptoms including fever and chills, headache, body aches, and muscle pain, and mental changes ranging from confusion to coma, according to the CDC. What's going on here, people? Okay. I mean, just looking at the article when it says scientists raise concerns as dangerous illness threatens over 1 billion people. That's a lot of people on the planet for something to be affected when it's only confined to a certain region or certain regions on the planet. Okay? You got to pay attention to certain things like this. It's like they're putting out the information, but at the same time, it's almost as if they're putting it out because there's something more nefarious coming. So if the shit hits the fan and they get busted, they're like, but we put out information. When the plan wasn't to warn people. They're just doing this to cover their ass because something's coming. Okay? It says, what is happening? How we got to CHIGGERS, symptom CDC. Okay. While it has historically been restricted to a geographic area in the Asia Pacific called the, I can't even pronounce this, the Tsugamushi Triangle. I don't know what I speak English. That's all I know. Which has both intense humidity and scrub vegetation. That area is now expanding. Over 1 billion people are at risk of the disease, according to a scientific study from 2018, and that number is only rising. Basically, they're saying. It says, why is it concerning? Scrub typhus is not the only vector-borne disease, one that is transmitted to humans by blood-feeding insects. That is on the rise, with its reach spreading due to our overheating. Again, here we go. Okay. Overheating planet, dengue fever, babesiosis, I guess they call it, Lyme disease, malaria, and more are all on the rise. Now, if you look at all these diseases that they're talking about, where are these diseases usually coming from? Okay? They're usually coming from countries where, whether you're going to go visit or you're coming from that country, you're supposed to have all your vaccines. You're supposed to, be in perfect and good health and all that. So they're saying that these things are coming and is being spread. But how is it being spread? They're saying right now through, insects that bite, like I guess they're saying mosquitoes and stuff like that. But I wonder if something is on the horizon from letting in, and I'm not trying to piss people off, but at the same time, I really don't give a shit. I'm going to say it. Of how many people are coming from different countries illegally into the U.S. Okay? I mean, there was even an incident that I read about a year and a half ago where they found cases in one county in Florida that supposedly people had leprosy. Now, leprosy is supposedly transmitted by eating armadillos. Okay? And they did a study and said, well, you know what? A lot of people in some of these South American countries, they eat armadillos. So it only made sense that there was a few cases caught out in Florida, in one of the counties in Florida, because when they realized and they did research in that county, there was a lot of illegals from South America living in that county. You see where I'm getting at with this, people? You got to. They're putting out the information, but you have to think way ahead. You got to think as far as your arm could throw that rock. And farther than that. That's the best way I can put it. You have to. You can't let them do the thinking for you. Okay? If you just look at what's going on to the left, that explains a lot. But anyway, it says meteorological factors play a key role in creating a conductive environment for the chiggers to thrive, said Tandon Zhangpo, a medical epidemiologist at Jalpo University of Medical Science and the co-author of another study on the scrub typhus. This also means climate change, here we go, climate change, will have significant impact on scrub typhus outbreaks. If changes in the climate lead to a scenario where the rainfall and the humidity is at a level just ideal for mites to proliferate, we may see more frequent outbreaks. I can't make this shit up the way they're putting all this together, but let's continue. Let's finish this off. What is being done about it? Zhang Pro advocate for a One Health approach to combat scrub typhus and other zoonotic disease outbreaks per the World, here we go, per the World Health Organization. Ding, 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 ding. Leave it up to them. Okay, and what did I just finish saying early in the video? That Biden's supposed to go to a meeting to start handing power over to people when it comes to like people's health and stuff like that. Now they're going to come out with this, and they're going to, it says, as per the World Health Organization, unelected officials, that all of a sudden they want to start telling people how to take care of themselves. It says One Health is an integrated, unifying approach to balance and optimize the health of people, animals, and ecosystems. It uses the close, interdependent links among these fields to create new surveillance and disease control methods. Ooh, you see what I'm saying, people? This article caught my eye. People need to pay attention. More broadly speaking, we must stop the activities, primarily the use of dirty energy sources like gas and oil, that are causing our planet's overheating, and turn instead to clean, renewable energy sources like wind and solar. And there you have it, people. So they are going to, and that's the end of the article, they are going as far as pushing out something of a insect, chiggers, which when I was in Florida, I've heard a lot of people talk about it. They know how to take care of it. But in some other parts of like the world, like when you look at the videos of people that have it, like in certain parts of Africa and stuff, they don't have, you know, as much as clean drinking water to take care of it. So it gets more of an infection. But now they're pushing this, and down here towards the end, they just threw that curveball in that they're basically leaving it up to WHO to decide what to do about the health of us, the health of the planet, what we need to do, so on and so forth. It's agenda driven, people. But they will stop at nothing to just keep infecting people with things. Be it with a new COVID strain, a new COVID vaccine, this dengue, or not even dengue, what the hell they call it, scrub typhus, just to push an agenda. And the agenda basically explains the rest of this article, which is right down here, of what they want to do. One Health, dirty energy, climate change, and leave it up to one organization to be in charge of it all. Just like with COVID. I can't make this shit up, people. I'm telling you, that's why I tell people, you know, you don't have to believe me. I'm only putting out what is out there. Okay, I may not get many views and stuff like that, which is fine. I know that I'm probably being suppressed. It doesn't bother me. As a matter of fact, I truly feel that, because on Rumble, I get a hell of a lot, way more views for the same content I'm putting out. And Rumble is way smaller than YouTube. And I thank Rumble, and I thank YouTube also for giving me, you know, the opportunity for this platform. But people need to be made aware of what's going on. And not by me, but do research. Okay, the news should not be confined to just certain news organizations because they have the money. There are many small independent news outlets out there that are putting out actual information, actual facts, and they're being overlooked. Okay, now I don't know anything about this, who wrote this person I should say, but now that I'm thinking about it, the cool down, to me, I've read some of their articles, they're more left-leaning, in my opinion, like way left-leaning. So if I had to guess, they're putting out this article because they are pushing the narrative, the fear-mongering, the tactic out, because their overlords are telling them to do it, and they're trying to put fear in everybody else to get more control over people. Okay? And I know some people will say, well, then why you listen to the article? Because like I said before, they'll put the information out in small doses, so when the shit hits the fan, people will say, oh, you lied to us. No, we didn't. We put it out. You just wasn't paying attention. Okay? That's how they're doing it. So you have to do your due diligence in order to keep, you know, digging and finding things out and finding out what's going on. But anyway, that's what I got for you Don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe, pass the channel around, give it a thumbs up. Um, Pass it around, especially to the young people. They need to be aware of what's going on, especially with that new flirt variant. I think is freaking ridiculous, especially coming out now, all of a sudden. Okay, and if you want to help support the channel, there's a link in my description to my Cash App and PayPal and my merch store, TrueUploadPatreon.com. So remember, people, stay vigilant, keep praying for each other, keep praying for the children, and keep praying for this country. Peace.